Hello boys and girls, it's GrandMommy here. We are going to finish up our story of the three little pigs and their crochet lessons. Now, I'm sorry. As you remember, boys and girls, Sally Skunk came to Mommy Pig a couple of days ago and said, "Mommy Piggy, will you please teach me how to crochet? Because I really would like to make a sweater for my sister, Sadie." And as you probably remember, poor Sally Skunk, oh my goodness gracious, she just had the worstest time with that yarn. She had yarn all over herself. She got so wrapped up in that yarn that the last time it took Mommy Piggy 20 minutes to untangle the yarn off of her arms, and she had it behind her ear, and then she had it just wrapped all over her, and she even had it wrapped around her knee. I don't know how she got it wrapped around her knees. She did. So, as you know, Little Bad Wolf had joined her, and he caught on real quick. He was a smart little boy, and he caught on pretty quick on how to crochet. Well, do you know that very next day, today, when Mommy Piggy opened up the door to let Sally and the Little Bad Wolf in, do you know, oh my goodness gracious, Squiggly and Allie the alligator and Patty Pig, they were standing at the door and they wanted to join the club. That was the new club in town to join, was learning how to crochet. So Mommy Piggy says, well, of course you can. Why not? Just join in and everybody have a good time. So she taught him the first, ideas on how to crochet. Well, Little Bad Wolf had already learned pretty good, so he could kind of help Squiggly. And so he stayed with the crochet and he liked it. But Allie the alligator and Patty Pig, they just couldn't get the hang of it, just about like Sally Skunk. And she was sitting over in the corner, bless her heart, she was sitting over in the corner. She was really trying to learn just a simple chain stitch. And for any of you crochet people out there, you know how easy that is. Well, Mommy Piggy got a good idea, and she said, Allie the alligator and Patty Pig, have you ever thought about knitting instead of crocheting? And they kind of looked at her and they go, no, but isn't that the same thing? And she laughed and she said, no. She said, it's not the same thing. She said, people think it is, but it's really not the same thing. Now, what you have to do is you have, instead of a crochet hook, which is one with a little crook on the end, what you have is two needles. No, don't be scared. They're not going to punch you. They're wooden, and they are called needles because they look like a needle. They go straight up. Allie the alligator says, that sounds kind of interesting. So with that, Mommy Pig got out her knitting needles, and thank goodness she had a couple extra pairs, and she gave him the yarn, and she says, okay, this is how you do when you knit. And Sally Skunk, she's looking and she's listening and she's looking over there at them and she's going, maybe I should try that. And Mommy Piggy says, no, not yet. I think that you could crochet if you really tried to. And that's why I'm going to put you over here in the corner where nobody else can bother you, and you can just, you can concentrate and learn how to do this. Okay, Mommy Pig, I know that you know what I'm supposed to be doing, so I'll trust you on this. Mommy Piggy laughed and says, well, I'm glad you did, child. Well, in the meantime, Little Bad Wolf, he was just crocheting like mad, and he was like halfway finished. He was sitting into it so good. And Mommy Piggy says, do you want to change the colors? Do you want to just keep on doing your green? And he said, yeah. He said, I like this green. He said, I want to continue on with the green. And so she said, okay, you can do the green. And she made a note so that she wouldn't give green out to anybody else. So then, Allie the alligator and Patty Pig, well, they did. They were surprised. They were catching on real quick with this knitting stuff. And so Mommy Pig says, okay, keep on going. Now, what did you want to make? And they both said that they wanted to make scarves for the wintertime for their mama and their daddies. So that was 2 scarves each one of them had to make. Oh boy. And Mommy Piggy says, well, that's going to take some more yarn. So pick out another color and you can change back and forth. Well, Allie the alligator had blue, and so he picked brown for his daddy. Blue and brown. He thought that would be pretty. And he picked yellow and pink for his mama. Well, Patty, she picked black and red for her daddy. And she picked, since Mommy Piggy had a whole bunch of pink, she picked pink and white for her mommy. Well, Sally Skunk, she says, Mommy Piggy, I just can't do this crochet thing. I really can't. She says, can you find me something else that I can do that I could make Sadie for Christmas? Now, boys and girls, you know Christmas is not real soon. It's going to be soon enough, but it's not real soon. But they knew, and Mommy Piggy had emphasized that they had to take a long time to make their Christmas presents because they weren't experts yet. So Mommy Piggy says, well, have you ever thought about sewing? And Sally Skunk says, oh, and you are a good sewer, aren't you? And Mommy Piggy says, well, yes, I am. And so Sally Skunk says, but I don't have any material. I don't have any fabric. And Mommy Piggy says, I'm going to call your mommy, and you run home, and when you get home, hopefully your mommy will have something that you can sew. And Sally Skunk looked at her and she goes, okay. And she didn't know what Mommy Piggy had in mind. So Mommy Piggy made a quick telephone call to Mommy Skunk, and she said, Sarah, this is Patricia. She says, your daughter, Sally, is going to learn how to sew. She just really can't crochet very good. And Mrs. Skunk, she laughed and she said, yeah, I didn't think that she would be able to learn it too good. She said, but sewing, she said she could probably do that. And Mommy Piggy says, well, what I want you to do is, do you have an old dress or an old shirt or something that we could tear up and use the material to make Sadie a little dress? That's what Sally wants to make. What a good idea, Mommy Piggy. Yes, I think I have a couple of things, and I'll get them out. Well, good, because Sally will be at your door any minute, and sure enough, here comes Sally running in the door. So, Mommy Skunk hung up, and Mommy Piggy hung up, and so Mommy Skunk gives little Sally 2 dresses that she didn't wear anymore, and they were getting kind of ragged looking, but there was still enough material in the skirt to tear apart and cut it out for a dress for Sadie, because, you know, Sadie was so little, you know. So back over to Mommy Piggy's house, Sally ran, and she was so excited because Mommy had told her what was going to happen, and she was so excited, and she burst into Mommy Piggy's house and says, here, look what I got, look what I got. And Mommy Piggy says, well, those dresses are beautiful. And they were really pretty. One was a blue with pink flowers, and the other dress, believe it or not, was pink with blue flowers, which GrandMommy better make a note of that one. So, Mommy Piggy says, okay, this is what we're going to do now. So I want you to look careful so that you can do the other dress. You pick up the scissors and you do exactly what I do. And so she showed her how to lay it out on the table, and she gave Sally a pair of scissors, and she says, now you start right here at the seam. This is called a seam when the 2 pieces of material come together. Sally Skunk says, okay, when 2 pieces of material are sewed together, that's a seam. Is that right, Mommy Piggy? And Mommy Piggy says, that's exactly right, sweetheart. Okay. So she says, now put your scissors right there, and I'll put mine right here, and then you cut just like I cut. And so they did. About 10 minutes later, they had 2 of the prettiest pieces of material. Oh my gosh. Sally knew that this dress for Sadie was going to be so special. Well, Mommy Piggy says, okay, she says, I think that's all for the day. She says, you boys and girls have really worked hard. Well, now you noticed that Piggly and Wiggly, they did not come into this. And they were sitting outside this whole time, sitting like 2 little bumps on the log. And said, I miss our friends, but I don't want to go crochet. Yucky, 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 yucky. And Wiggly says, I know, that sounds so stupid for little boys. Well, they peeked through the window. And when they had peeked through the window, some of the boys and girls were laughing, and some of them were smiling, and Mommy Piggy was going from one to the other, helping them, and she was giving them hugs, and Piggly and Wiggly said, wow, they sure look like they're having a good time, don't they, Wiggly? And Wiggly says, yeah, they sure do. And he was looking in the windows too, and he says, and we're sitting here like 2 little bumps on the log. And Piggly says, that's right. So here come all the boys and girls, and they were going to go home. And Wiggly and Piggly stood there and looking at him, and Squiggly says, okay, see you tomorrow. And Wiggly and Piggly looked at each other, and he says, another day? And all the boys and girls were just hopping and skipping down the road. They were having such a good time because they were so excited about everything that they had crocheted and knitted and sewn on the sewing machine. Sally was the only one. But boy, she was good. She had found her thing, and she was really good at it. Mommy Piggy could tell already. Her seams were so straight. She did not ziggy-zaggy, ziggy-zaggy all over the place. She did not run in circles. She was good. She could follow a straight line real good. So Mommy Piggy says, okay, see you tomorrow, boys and girls. And they all said, we sure will, and we'll be back. And so Squiggly sat down with Piggly and Wiggly. And Piggly and Wiggly says, just what are you guys doing in there? We miss you. We want to go play, and we want to go sit in our tree and read our books. We want to go to the lake, and we want to go see Farmer Brown. What are you guys doing in there? We just don't understand. And Squiggly told him. He says, oh, he said, you need to join. He says, we have such a good time in there. He says, why, we're making our Christmas presents. Wiggly says. Piggly says. Maybe we better join. We got to give Christmas presents too. And Squiggly says, yes, we have to give Mommy something, and we should give Mr. Farmer Brown something because he's so good to us. So, okay. Said I was disconnected. So, the very next day, you know what happened. Here comes Piggly and Wiggly. Mommy, is it too? Okay, I don't know why we have a bad connection, but apparently we have a bad connection. So she says, no, of course it's not too late to start. She says, what would you like to do? And Piggly and Wiggly says, well, we'd kind of like to paint. And Mommy Piggy says, okay, I know just what you need to do. And with that, she picked up the phone, and guess who she called? Sally Skunk's mommy. Because she knew that Sally Skunk's mommy could teach Piggly and Wiggly how to paint. And she called her up, and Miss Sarah Skunk said, well, of course they can come over and I'll teach them how to paint, because painting is a very nice thing. And I know that I can't sew and crochet like you do, Mommy Piggy, but you don't paint like I do. So yes, that will be wonderful. So Mommy Piggy sent the boys over to Sally Skunk's house, and Sally Skunk's mama gave them their first painting lesson. And they told Miss Sally Skunk's mama that they wanted to make a Christmas present for their mommy and for Mr. Farmer Brown. And that was what all the boys and girls were doing over to their house, was making the parents Christmas presents. So Sarah Skunk, she said, what a wonderful idea, and how sweet is your mama to be teaching all those boys and girls. She said, that is so nice. And so with that, she gave Piggly and Wiggly, hi Kathy, she gave Piggly and Wiggly their first painting lesson. Oh boy. Well, now they had painted the side of Farmer Brown's barn, and they had painted the chicken coop, and they had even tried to help Mama Piggy paint their room. But this was different. This was little teeny tiny brushes, and it wasn't a side of a barn or a wall. It was a little, oh my gracious sakes. But you know what? They turned out to be pretty doggone good. They were surprised. Well, Mommy Skunk was real surprised because she just didn't know what was going to happen with all of this. A few weeks have passed, and they were still taking their lessons. They were still crocheting. They were still as Squiggly and Allie and Patty and the Little Bad Wolf and Squiggly, they stayed with the crocheting, and Sally Skunk sewed, and Allie the Alligator and Patty Pig knitted, and Piggly and Wiggly were painting. Well, it had been 6 weeks now. Now, boys and girls, remember, 6 weeks is 1 month and 2 weeks. And they had almost got all of their stuff finished. Mommy Piggy was so excited, and she says, "Oh, I can't wait for Christmas to come, and I can't wait for all your mamas and your daddies to see what you have made. You girls and boys have been doing so good. I am so proud of you." Well, they got finished, and Little Bad Wolf made his green scarf for Mr. Farmer Brown, and Allie the Alligator made a red and pink, a yellow and a pink scarf for his mommy, and a blue and brown scarf for his daddy for Christmas. And Patty Pig made a black and red scarf for her daddy, and a pink and white scarf for her mommy. And Sally made a prettiest little dress. It was blue with pink flowers, and it had ruffles on the sleeves and a ruffle on the skirt, and that was pink with blue flowers. Oh my gosh, that little dress was so cute. That little dress was only about this big, because you know Sally Skunk's only about this big. Well, and don't forget, Sally Skunk's 2 years old, and she's still this little big. Well, then, of course, Piggly and Wiggly, they had painted pictures for Mommy and for Mr. Farmer Brown. And Mr. Farmer Brown's picture was a picture of his barn. And they knew it by heart. They knew exactly what that barn looked like, because you know how many times they'd been over from Mr. Farmer Brown's and how many times they had worked for Mr. Farmer Brown. So they knew that barn inside and out, every board in it. Well, that picture was just beautiful. And they painted for their mommy. Oh my goodness gracious. They had looked at each other when they were painting, and Piggly painted a picture of Wiggly, and Wiggly had painted a picture of Piggly, and then they got together and painted a picture of Squiggly, because they all three looked alike, and so they knew what each one looked like, so they knew what each one was going to look like when they painted them. Well, that was going to be the Christmas presents to their mommy. And oh my gosh, I know right away she was going to be so proud of that picture. And boys and girls, I think this is all for today. And Friday, we will find out more about the three little pigs and what they can do and what they shouldn't do and everything like that. Now, mummies and daddies, don't forget, if you want to get caught up on any of these stories, they are on YouTube, courtesy of my daughter, Wendy. And I will see you Friday. Okay? Bye-bye.